Thanks, everyone. Today we are talking with Wendy, who looks like Janis Joplin and once worked as a waitress at Disneyland in Paris. She loves cookies and cream ice cream and would sing creep in Chinese if you asked. She wishes she was from Rio de Janeiro and is always up for an adventure. She once parasailed naked and while in Bolivia explored the underground silver mines. Wendy has hundreds of books, and today she is sharing about how to travel while being a vegan. So, welcome, Wendy.
Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You just shared lots of my secrets there. Not very many people know about that.
Oh, that'll be great for your friends to go, ooh, look what Wendy did.
Yeah.
So very fun. Thanks for sharing all that stuff with us. So we're going to start the timer, and we're just talking about, what it means to be a vegan when you're traveling. And so my first question is, does being a vegan change your destination choices? I mean, how does that impact your travel?
Yeah, that's a really good question. For me personally, no, it doesn't change my destination choices at all, because my philosophy is that I can be vegan anywhere. And, that's kind of my mission, is to prove that and show people how that can be done. And in my experience, traveling for more than 6 years now, all over the world, including some really off the beaten track kind of destinations where no one has ever heard the word vegan before, it's still absolutely possible. So yeah, it doesn't for me change the destination, but I know for a lot of people it does, or they might just feel more comfortable going to places where they know that it is more vegan friendly, and that they're going to find dedicated vegan restaurants and things like that. But you don't always need that either. Like, you also have lots of traditional cuisines that just happen to have lots of plant-based dishes included in them, even though no one there has ever heard of the word vegan before. They wouldn't think of those dishes as being vegan, but they are. So, you don't, just because there aren't like vegan signs plastered everywhere, that doesn't mean that a destination is not vegan friendly.
Right.
Great. So, how do you prepare? What are some of the things you do to be prepared or ahead of time?
Yeah, so I do definitely recommend that people do a bit of research beforehand, because that really makes things go a lot more smoothly. A really good resource to start with is Happy Cow, which is an app that you can use either on Android or smartphone, or also on a website. They have a free website where you can access everything there as well. It's just that the app is a bit more user-friendly, especially when you're on the go, when you're out traveling. So basically, Happy Cow is a crowdsourced directory of vegan and vegan-friendly and vegetarian restaurants and other types of businesses that are vegan-friendly all over the world. And so anyone can contribute to it, and lots of people do contribute to it, either adding places in their own hometown where they live, or also when they're out and about traveling and they happen to stumble across a veg-friendly place, then they can add that, or they can add their own reviews or their own photos and things like that. So that is a really good place to start, to see what kind of options there are in the place where you're going. And if it's a destination, I'd say in Europe, any kind of middle to large size city in Europe, and lots of places in North America and Australia, you're going to find loads and loads of options on Happy Cow. Probably too many, you probably won't have time to even visit all of the locations that you find there. If you're going to a more off the beaten track destination, though, you might not find anything there. And don't freak out if that happens, because as I said, that doesn't mean just because you don't see vegan signs everywhere, and just because no one has uploaded a review anywhere, that doesn't mean that there's not vegan food. I mean, vegan food is everywhere. It's beans and legumes and fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and grains. You find those things all over the world. And so it's just a matter of, in that case, if you don't find anything on Happy Cow, then my next suggestion would be to dig a little deeper and learn a bit more about the local cuisine, which is something that I really enjoy doing, in the preparations for my trips when I'm traveling. And it's really added a whole new dimension to travel for me. So I actually enjoy my travels even more now than I did before I was vegan, because it's made everything kind of like a treasure hunt where I'm constantly, on the look for vegan dishes that are part of the cuisine, or perhaps, advertisements for vegan friendly restaurants or dishes that are marked as being vegan friendly on restaurant menus. I'm always on the lookout for those things, and I keep finding more and more, and especially now, like, the vegan movement is really growing, so those options are multiplying really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that most cuisine has vegan options, right? Like, just like you said, that's really a great thing to keep your mind open and not think that it has to be like labeled. We get used to, in the States, you're used to seeing the label on things, but it doesn't need to be. That doesn't mean it's not, right? So can you just tell us about some of your favorite places that you've been, where you've had some fantastic places that have good vegan food and that have been good experiences?
Yeah, great. I've had so many great experiences. Well, the very first one for me was Greece. And that's actually where I became vegan. I had been transitioning for a few months from, someone who ate everything to then vegetarian to then, gradually cutting animal products out of my diet. And I was really close to being fully vegan, but one of the big things holding me back was that I was afraid that it was going to ruin travel. And I didn't know if it was going to be possible. This was, like I said, more than 6 years ago, so things weren't quite like they are now. But also, I just had lots of kind of wrong assumptions in my head about how difficult it was to travel as a vegan. So Greece was where I decided to give a trial run. My husband and I had already planned a 3-week trip to Greece. And so I decided I was going to try to see if I could stay fully vegan for the 3 weeks that we were there. And September 10th, I know the exact date, September 10th, 2014, was the day that our plane landed in Athens. And that is now the day that I celebrate every year as my veganiversary, because I never looked back from that point. And I was really blown away by how many dishes there were in the local cuisine. In Greece, it's partly because of religious reasons, because in the Greek Orthodox Church and also in other Orthodox churches in other parts of Eastern Europe and other parts around places around the world, they have a fasting tradition where what they call fasting doesn't mean that you don't eat anything at all. It just means that you don't eat certain kinds of foods, and it's a mostly, if not completely, vegan diet. And people are following those fasting traditions for several weeks leading up to Easter, and then there's another long period leading up to Christmas, and then in some places. Oh, are we done?
Oh no.
Learning so much about Greece.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Well, at least we got to the part about Greece. I mean, that's on my list of places to go.
Wow, Wendy. Yeah, it absolutely is. And I hadn't thought about that, but you're absolutely right. There's so many places that have kind of those religious annotations, whether it's like a fasting piece or what, and then that is where you're going to get a whole different set of cuisine. Something we might want to think about just looking into is where those places are and how that food differs.
Yeah.
I mean, even here in the States, just going to different neighborhoods, you find different foods, right? So obviously different places in the world, and even within those places, they're going to have different foods in their neighborhoods and during different times of the year, just like us. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a really becoming vegan also opened up my eyes to all these different cuisines. I mean, I had already been traveling for many years, so I was pretty familiar with different kinds of international cuisines around the world, but I really discovered those even more and more in depth, and it made me a foodie traveler, which is not something that I was before. Food wasn't a priority for me. I would just eat whatever was cheap, whatever was easy and available, and now I really delve into it and learn all about the local dishes and make sure I get to try those out while I'm there. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. That's food is one of our favorite questions to ask. Yeah. And we love to hear about the different food. But that was our 7 minutes, Wendy. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story. We have a new question and answer series. April and I are answering your travel questions. There's a link in the description below here to sign up and ask your questions. So go ahead and do that, and we'd be happy to answer them for you. And travel with us through real stories from real people. Thanks, Wendy.
Thanks, Wendy.
Thanks so much.